What is going on, everyone? So, quick little video on some news I just seen about Dave Meltzer claiming that, oh, they waited till that day to turn John Cena heel. Bullshit. If you guys are reading this and you actually believe it, please don't. This guy, first of all, there's times when he gets correct information. But recently, in the most recent times I can think of, it's not been that good as far as what he reports and what actually is the case. Sometimes I think he's just making it up on the go because he wants to, I don't know, draw interest to him or whatever away from the other podcasters and journalists and everything else. Let's face it, guys, there's no way they just decided this on the day. Okay. They already knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing since at least end of summer, early fall, somewhere in there. They knew they were going to go this direction. He's saying that they were going to wait until WrestleMania to turn John Cena heel. And maybe they did think that, but I don't think they just decided, oh, well, let's do it tonight on the fly at Elimination Chamber. I really highly doubt that. It's just not how Triple H operates. Even with The Rock running around, it's just not how Triple H operates. He most certainly had things lined up and in order, and even The Rock himself knew that this night was coming, as he said in his interview, press conference, whatever the hell he was doing there. So for Meltzer to come out and say the biggest dumbest shit I ever heard is just silly. Now, one of two things is happening. He's lying through his teeth, and he's only doing it to generate interest to come to him, I guess. Or somebody's feeding him false information, which seems to me would be the case because he's gotten a lot of false information in recent times. And it's by design, They don't want him or anybody else really spoiling a whole lot of things, so they give him and others false information so that they quickly, oh, this is what's going on. And then, of course, it's not what's going on. But what he's saying here is John Cena was decided that they were going to turn him heel at Elimination Chamber on the day of. There's no way. No way. You had Travis Scott there who was involved and everything else, and clearly there was a segment they planned on having him involved and was going to do this. So they already knew what they were doing, okay? It wasn't decided upon that day. There's no freaking way. Now, like I said, apparently they originally were going to have him turn at WrestleMania, which I could see that being the case because when Austin did it, it happened at WrestleMania and it was shocking and everything else. But maybe that was the case, but it was probably early on, like months ago. They're like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And then they're like, you know what? This way, if we do it Elimination Chamber, we can build things back up. We can build things from there leading into WrestleMania and really get things fired up. Because if you have that happen at Elimination Chamber, it makes that PLE much bigger by default. Plus, it's in a stadium, all right? And it just makes going into WrestleMania all that more insane. So that's just my outlook on it. I just think that Meltzer is full of shit. Maybe he doesn't know he's full of shit. He's just relaying bad information, and he's not sourcing this information very well. He's just running with it. Multiple times in the past few years, he's ran with information that was absolutely just false, outright false, and made himself to look like a fool. All right. So for him to come out and say this, just take it with a very, 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 very fine, teensy weensy little grain of salt, because there's just he's losing his credibility as the hours and the minutes go by. There's other sources out there that are a lot more reliable, like Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful, definitely more reliable. If there was something like that, Sean would have found out about it and probably reported on it. So yeah, I just, you hear this stuff and it's just ridiculous. And then there was something else he reported on with, I can't remember what it was, turning Cody instead, or The Rock, or Cody was going to be the original one to turn, and all this other nonsense, which apparently was deleted. I think he deleted that one. Or I could be wrong or something. I know he deleted something, and I think it was related to that, because guess what? It's bullshit, guys. You can't take what this guy says seriously at all. And I recommend you not taking him seriously, because it's just, until he starts proving to everyone that he's sourcing his information and vetting it better and giving us something that we can actually count on, I would not listen to what he's saying and actually think, oh yes, this is gospel. This is the way it was. All right. Dave Meltzer has been very good over the years. Unfortunately, in recent years, past couple years, definitely not so good. So he really has to prove to everyone when he turns things around, he really has to prove that he's turned things around, because there's just too much bullshit coming out of him to literally take whatever he says as any kind of information that's worth listening to or reading, for that matter. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, because this and the Cody thing is some of the most ridiculous shit I've heard yet. You can just tell that's not the case, right? I've had plenty of people in my life bullshit me. I know what bullshitters sound like. So you can just always tell when there's some bullshit going on, or you can kind of see and sense, okay, this is most likely how it was. The Rock said it himself. This is a long game plan. Again, they probably figured on how this was going to go as early as back in fall, and I believe him. You know, he doesn't stutter or twitch or blink when he's saying it. He knows exactly what he's saying, and the story hasn't changed, and he's told us time and time again, enjoy the ride The Rock's taking you on. He said he's 20 steps ahead. I believe him. I believe him, because Triple H just doesn't operate the way Vince McMahon operated. Triple H just doesn't operate like that. He likes to have everything set how he wants it to go, basically put the plan out there where the end game is, and then draw back from there and go back and figure things out that way. So he already knows where he wants to go and everything else. That's just how he always has been. Even back in NXT, it's just how he always has been. So I just don't see Triple H. You're like, yeah, let's do that instead today. Let's do this instead today. Just on the fly like that. It just isn't how he does things. Is he willing to kind of change things up on the way to where he's going? Yeah, of course. We've seen that with Io Sky winning the women's world title. And I think that was a great thing right there. That really shook things up. People did not see that coming. And yet he's still going to get to where he wanted to go. John Cena turning heel was a game plan months and months ago. So what we did to get there is what we did to get there. All right. There's no way he's just like, they showed up at Elimination Chamber. Like, oh, yeah, we're just going to do it today. It's just, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Take what Dave Meltzer says with a grain of salt. Okay. Just know that. And yeah, that's really all I'm going to say. I'm just a guy on here that loves wrestling, and I come on here and I talk to you about it and what I think and the crap that I hear out there. And that's it. So yeah, with that said, I will catch you all down the road.